right, so we've got the carpet from ACC installed here in the Superdually, and it matches our high country interior perfectly. I probably have 20 different color samples from doing this thing to try to get the exact right color, and I would say we did pretty good. If you come back here and flip this back seat up, you'll see how well it matched this carpet here. I mean, it is dialed in almost perfect. They give you lots of width on the carpet, or not a whole lot of width, but give you a whole lot of depth on this carpet kit. So we had to trim a lot off the back. We had to trim a lot off the front when we went to slide it up under the dash, just because that it was pushing back and not letting it get lined up where it would set on the seat tubs correctly. To make it fit on this super high custom transmission tunnel that we built for the ZF6, I did have to get a little creative. They wouldn't make it wide enough even if I asked them to. They said that they basically just send the max width of the roll. This is like 78 going across the tunnel and everything, and a regular square body is 60. And they send you like 65 inches of material. So check it out, you'll see we split up the tunnel so it would fall out and hit right against the side of the kick plates like it's supposed to. And then we just got some nylon twine and basically melted 12 holes along the tunnel and stitched it all together so that it can't fall down. And you'll see it works really well with the console in here, and this has this mass backing option you can get on this carpet. It has knocked down the sound by 10 decibels. So in our video where we did Power Stroke versus Cummins, going down the road, the truck's about 80 decibels. With the air on wide open, now we're only at 70. So that's 70, according to the app, is about your average light city traffic. So that's pretty good considering a 12 valve is probably one of the louder diesels you can have. But we'll pop the console out and we'll show you how we finished up that remote shifter and walk you through the parts you'll need to build one like that yourself. All right, so right here we have our remote shifter. We have a 1/2 inch Heim joint. We have these two 90s that come off the floor, and they are bolted to a bigger plate that is about 6 by 6. And that is also bolted to the tunnel, so it gives you a lot of rigidity and strength so the floor doesn't move when you're shifting front and back. And then up here we just have a adjustable collar. I say adjustable, it's adjustable in here. You have a bolt here, you have an Allen head nut here and on the front side, and you can adjust how wide that is. So we got one that's a little bit smaller, so it chokes down on the shift stub of the transmission really nicely. This is a 08 F350 Heim joint. We added about 1 inch to it, welded it all back together to get the shifter angle and everything right. We did skew these little plates that we welded to the collar to the left a little bit to get the shifter angled right, pretty much factory here. Then this is just a tab welded onto a piece of 1/2 inch, I think it was a 12-inch nipple is what they call it, but it's threaded on both ends. So we got that. That's through bolted there. We are going to come over here and put another arm here just to brace this up a little bit and keep it from getting loose. But that's it. I mean, realistically, if you had to design like you watch this video and want to build it, maybe 2 hours or so. I probably only have 4 in it altogether, figuring everything out. You'll see at the beginning of the video we were going to used straight Heim joints all the way around, but they were a little bit too floppy when I put everything together. This end link is plenty strong because it holds the sway bar in the F350, so you don't have to worry about it there. The bushings are good, and you can pretty much go to any parts store and pick one up. And if you had to go in there and replace it or anything, I mean, you just cut it and add 1 inch to it. Nothing super crazy there, nothing super exotic, but it's super functional. That's kind of like what we like to do here on Barnyard Builds. Right here, if you haven't seen it before, is the wiring for the seats. This is just a 6-gang fuse block. It's got power and ground on it. Those are run straight to the battery. We have some expandability if we wanted to ever add anything else, and then we could just tap into it with a switch. Right here is our console mount. It's just 2 pieces of 1-inch rectangle tubing, and these are just some 1/2 inch all thread that I cut off and welded onto this piece here where it needed to be at. You can see on the high country console right here, you have your mounting points up here and back here. We're just using the back ones because it's going to tie in all the way to the console. So no big deal as far as that goes. We do plan on powering up everything. We'll show you the switch panel assembly we got to make all that happen. This is the power panel, accessory panel, whatever you want to call it, that goes in the high country interior. You can see right here you have a regular old house plug deal. We're probably not going to use that. Right here we have our 2 cigarette lighters, and then here we have our triple USB deal. You can buy these triple USB things. They're like 80 bucks, so probably just hit up the junkyard and buy one for way less to replace this 12-volt power outlet, because why do I need that? And then we'll have 6 USBs. Don't really know why you would need 8 total with the 2 in the console, but hey, why not? This is a harness that we got off of eBay, and it plugs in right here to the 12-volt cigarette lighter. It has this plug, which was pretty much impossible to find on the internet because I tried. It plugs in, if I plugged it in right, it plugs in right here. So that's going to give you all your power for your USBs. When you come over here, this is your data wire. It's just I think it's a USB-C, and it's going to just plug in here when I figure it out. Yeah, just like that. Plugs in just like that. And then this one plugs into the harness that gets the data from the USBs in the console. So with all those plugged in, and I have another plug for this one, you'll come down here and this will be your power selection. So this is your hot and ground for your 12-volt cigarette lighter USB, or yeah, cigarette lighter plug. And this right here is the power. These little wires are your power for your 12-volt USBs. So all we're going to do is hack this off. Going to make sure we do these on 2 separate circuits. So this one will power the USBs and the USBs for the console. This bigger wires right here, we're going to splice them in and power both of these cigarette lighters. And then we're going to hopefully take and plug all the data harnesses in together from right here, which I kind of already did to show you. Just take one of these guys, tap it in here, and then we're just going to run it all the way to the back of our new Apple CarPlay radio when we put that in. That'll do 2 things. That'll let all the data show up on the Apple CarPlay, whether it's wired or Bluetooth. We're going to get one that does both, but doing that just lets us get them both ways. Plus, makes it just like it came out of the factory with it in there. So why not go ahead and do a little extra effort, make it work like that. All right, so today we are going to be dyeing our door panels to match our carpet and our high country seats, and kind of go ahead and get this interior finished off. Gonna get this wrapped, going to get these little carpeted areas wrapped a different color, probably lighter than what the door panel is, just to kind of make it pop and set it off. Want to do ostrich, but we may end up with some quilted stuff. Not really sure yet. I'm really struggling to find ostrich that actually is the color that's advertised and not like some kind of left out in the sun piece of junk. So if you got any sources on ostrich material, let us know. So these little wooden panels that you're seeing on here, they are added aftermarket, because back in the 80s and 90s, custom upfitters were like a big thing, like around now, still around now, is like American Luxury Coach and stuff like this. This truck was actually a Zimmer, is the brand. So basically people would buy base model Silverados or Blazers or Suburbans, take them to these upfitters and they would do custom touches. Most of them are terrible. Like this thing had this crazy wood veneer thing, just like these, that actually look good, but it looked terrible and it covered over this whole dash and made the gauges look really doofy. Not a fan of those, and I've seen some of their custom wiring, and it's amazing this thing didn't burn down before I got it and fixed all of it. Probably the most annoying thing about pulling these door panels is what you're about to see, which is these little clips that hold all the power windows and door lock things on, because they're supposed to be twist off. I have yet to twist a single one of them off. It's more like stick a screwdriver in it and say a prayer and start prying. Pro tip from experience with these things, don't do this with the key on because you will shock yourself. All right, you'll be happy to know I'm wearing a green shirt tonight, not a red one. But we got this door panel off and we've got everything stripped down on it. What you're gonna do after that is you're gonna take this sprayway glass cleaner and a red Scotch-Brite pad, scuff it up, spray it off with a hose, blow it, dry it off. And then we're gonna take it over here and spray it down with some SEM and go from there.
All in one swoop.
What wrong thing I was gonna do? All right, so as you've seen in our previous videos, we've swapped the high country interior in this truck. We've put the back seat in this truck. We've got the console in this truck. The only thing we were really waiting on to finish up to make this high country interior complete was recover the dash, which turned out to be a disaster. So TMI, hook us up with the dash. Otherwise, we're waiting on one of y'all's sales so we can get a dashboard. But the last thing of custom work that we had to do was bridge this gap between the console and the dashboard to make it look all factory, one, and two, put the switches in for our creature comforts like our heated and cooled seats, and then put our airbag stuff in so when we throw a truck bed camper on here with a gooseneck and a big piece of equipment or something, we can level the truck out and still have a nice ride. So right here we use some Kydex. I got it off Amazon. It's like 15 bucks for 2 sheets. This is just the Kydex holster screws like you'd get if you were going to make a holster for like a Glock or any other pew-pews. And then these switches came in our leatherseats.com Sanctum or Gentherm heated and cooled seat kit. So you tap them here, you tap them up, it's going to make heat, it's going to do heated, it's got 3 modes. If you tap it down, you have 3 modes of cooled seats, just like in the factory high country had. So we got that in here. It did fall down in a little bit. We are going to have to run a brace underneath there to push it back up, but super tickled with how it turned out. Of course, now that we have it done up in Kydex, we could always go back and get someone to cut it out of sheet metal, bend it, and make it look even better. But for right now, I'm pretty happy with how this is going to be, so we're going to let it ride till it dies. All right, you'll be happy to know I'm not wearing a red.